I'm going to show you how to copy the exact AI strategy that'll help you blow up your business. In fact, most people think that the only way to grow a business nowadays is to hire more people, is to focus on talent. What if I told you that old model is actually broken? We're going to break down three key things to help you level up your actual business. Number one, why the old model of labor is outdated and no longer working. And most importantly, the hidden costs that comes with that. Number two, how you can actually adapt and evolve your business model so you can get ahead of the curve in 2025. And number three, how we're actually creating what I call the AI powered business to get to that 50, 100, 150K per month that I'm helping my clients do right now. So if you're serious about scaling not just faster, but smarter in 2025 for your business, then stick until the end of the actual video because I'm going to walk you through the exact breakdown on how to do this for yourself. And if we haven't met already, my name is Larry Antaporta. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe to the channel and let's get to the training. The key to 100K months to a seven-figure business comes down to building powerful, efficient sales systems. And I have never, until recently, found a more efficient way to build powerful seven-figure sales systems than through AI. Okay. Let me share with you guys why the old way of scaling a sales team is keeping you stuck. Why I believe we are in one of the fundamental disruptions of all time when it comes to sales. So, after scaling several sales teams, here's the industry average of usually what I find. Okay. So, this is like what I personally have found. This is what some of my clients have also found. These are even just some of what my colleagues are doing. So, generally, these are the different levels of what a sales team will evolve into. So think of it as like the evolution of a sales team. Okay. 0 to 20K, it's usually solo. So it's usually just going to be the business owner. You don't necessarily need to hire a sales team, nor do I recommend that you hire one right from the start, right? Usually around 20K per month, you have enough work and you have enough, most importantly, efficiency that you can actually do everything yourself. Okay. 20 to 50K per month is usually where the first hire is made. So if anyone is around that 20K mark or 30K mark, you usually can, usually want to start thinking about having a setter. So it can either be a VA, it could be another just entry level sales rep. That's usually when you only have like one other person. Some people might have two. I found the best efficiency and the least complexity is usually with one. All right. Then when you kind of evolve, you might have around 50 to 100K per month. So that's usually where you might start thinking about hiring your first closer. You might have two setters under you, and you, to a certain extent, might still be working the sales process. I know some people who are still working their sales calls, right? I know some people who want to just immediately get out of sales calls. So it really depends on you, but usually, generally, what I'll find is two setters, one closer, and you're kind of, as a business owner, maybe off the sales calls or taking a few sales calls per week, right? Then level number four is usually going from 100 to 150K per month. You have two closers, three setters, and you end up becoming the sales manager, or you might actually hire a part-time sales manager for you. So it starts getting a little bit more complex. You have like six people on the actual sales team, right? And then usually the evolution from there is from 150 to 250K per month. You have two to three closers, four setters, a sales manager, and then you. And usually around this level, you try to remove yourself as much as possible, but you're going to have anywhere from 7 to 8 people on your team. Now, this is the way that it's always usually been done. It's the traditional way, it's the old way. And most of the time, the belief that a lot of people have is this is the only way to scale a sales team. That's the belief. And I'm going to be honest with everyone here. That was my belief for the longest time. I thought the only way to scale a sales team was by either hiring more people or getting the people who you currently have to be as efficient as possible. Okay. Why is this old model broken and outdated? So I'm going to share with you guys a quick little image here. This is what happens when you actually scale a sales team with labor or with humans. When you add one person, the line of communication is only actually two. It's only between you and the other person. The problem is, as you scale sales teams, it's not a linear progression, it's actually a multiplicative progress. Multiplicative, right? So when you have just two people, it's just two lines of communication. When you have three people, it's actually six lines of communication. When you have four people, you have 24 lines of communication. So what does that mean? Okay. If you're not good at math like me, what does this mean? right? The reason I got into sales was because I was bad in math. But all I know what this means is at the end of the day is as there's more people, things get more complicated. The biggest enemy to scale is complexity. The biggest savior to scale is simplicity. And AI is what creates simplicity. Okay. Because the number one obstacle that you and your team will face is sales team complexity, which is attached to what we call labor. Naval Ravikant is a multimillionaire, and he actually created this company, AngelList, which was valued at $4 billion. Okay, so he's probably a smart guy to listen to. His book, I can't recommend enough. But one of my favorite quotes from his book that I will never forget that changed my business and my life forever, as he said this: the new generation of wealth is built using leverage tools like code, media, and capital. Code, media, and capital, not manual labor. Okay, not manual labor. So if we want to build wealth, if we want to increase our sales, if we want to get to that next generation of wealth, we got to be what? We got to be leveraged. For the first time in human history, we can actually create true leverage with sales. True leverage. Okay. Because the traditional sales model relies on almost 100% labor. The new AI sales model, which I'm going to teach you guys here today, relies on code. It combines code and labor. All right. Code, media. This is where we want to be. Code and media. And guys, for the longest time, I was scratching and losing my mind. How can I create more leverage in sales? Because, guys, the truth was when I was a sales rep, when I was a full time closer, when I was a setter, even when I was building sales teams, I realized that my biggest limitation was sales is fundamentally a model that only relies on labor. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me how to create more leverage. Sure, you can have like go high level automations, great. We can use those things. We can use software, sure. But I'm talking about it still fundamentally relied on 80% of the human. How can I create leverage with sales? Because when we look at history, right? Let's look at history. New forms of leverage disrupt the marketplace and create new wealth. So let's go back in time. Let's take a little like time machine, go back 10 years back, 2015, right? I don't know. There might be some kids here who are maybe still in elementary in 2015. I don't know. Maybe my TikTok got to you guys, so that's why you're here. But I don't know. And if anyone is here, a millennial like me, or maybe you're older generation, or maybe you're an older Gen Z, right? At the end of the day, we got to look at the fundamental thing, which is marketing faced this disruption back around the 2010s, right? So the old way to market was what? And Augustine, I don't mean to call you out, but you might remember this, right? Was handing out flyers, right? People would be out there in the flyers, posting up the little like wallpaper. They're like, "Oh, here's a little flyer of my concert. Come show up," right? That was the old way of marketing, which was labor. Maybe you saw those people like with the little fancy signs doing all the tricks, right? That's labor. So it's very inefficient, right? But then the new way to market came out. Facebook ads, social media. This came out in the 2010s. And a new path was born. Everyone who understood the true power of Facebook ads around 2010 to 2015, they're the seven-figure, eight-figure, and even nine-figure entrepreneurs, business owners of today. This happened because of one thing. They figured out how to leverage code and media, right? Again, the highest form of leverage in marketing. And guess what? Sales finally has center stage. We're finally getting the highest form of leverage in sales, which is AI. All right. Because the old way to sell was human sales rep calling leads, boiler room style, calling leads, spending hours and hours of day, your day. I used to spend 5 to 6 hours of my day trying to do like 200 cold calls. Guys, this is a bold statement, but do you know the volume of how many dials an AI sales rep can call in 1 hour? It's about 60,000 calls in 1 hour. So this is true leverage, guys. What used to take an hour, think about it. If you could spend an hour spending 100 flyers out to people, and with Facebook ads, based on your ad budget, you can literally get 10,000, 50,000 people seeing your actual ad in 1 or 2 hours, or depending on the budget, right? The same thing is happening for AI sales reps right now, which is we're having 100x, 1,000x multiplier effect with AI. Okay. So if you're like me, and I wish I could get a time machine to go back in time to go back and be like, man, I wish I took more advantage of Facebook ads, right? I wish I understood the magnitude of this opportunity. Well, guess what? You don't need the time machine. You're right here. You're in a fundamental life changing moment. Okay. You're in a fundamental life changing moment. We don't need those things, because right now the Facebook ads in 2015 is AI in sales in 2025. This is the theme of the next decade. Okay. This is the theme of the next decade. So, with that being said, here's what I used to be told, right? I used to be told in order to get more sales, more deals, you just need to hire a VA, et cetera, a closer from a recruiting agency, right? Here's the truth. I've hired from those recruiting agencies, like from the guys like closers.io, other placement guys, right? Truth is, the problem is not that simple. In fact, I've been that recruiter. I've been that guy who has a sales agency working with people to recruit top placement. It's not that easy. It can solve a part of the problem, but there's multiple parts of the problem that we need to solve, right? You might have also been told that you just need to run more paid ads and get more leads, right? You might be a sales rep who's like working with your business owner. We need to get more leads. We need to get more paid ads. Well, here's the truth, guys. The cost of acquiring a client and booking a call only gets more expensive by the day. Ads are only getting more expensive. Book calls are only getting more expensive. Leads are only getting more expensive. So it's only a temporary fix, right? And like Augustine said, is like once you train a VA, they would lead to a higher bidder. That's one of the issues is people just end up quitting. You spend all these hours training someone, you up level them, right? And then they ended up just leaving to someone else. So again, another temporary fix. And then you might have even heard this, which is just invest in sales training, just get better in closing. You just need a sales coach so that you can close more deals. You just suck at closing. Well, hey, as a fellow sales coach, the truth is that only solves one of the many problems. It will solve your issue going from like 0 to like 25K and 50K. But if we're truly trying to build a 7-figure sales machine, you need to solve it from a systematic issue. Okay. So as a sales coach myself, this only solves one of the many problems required to scale a business to 100K per month beyond a quarter million. And it, like Lewis says, you need more volume. Okay. All right. So let's get to the juice. Let's get to the real juice. All right. Why is generating appointments efficiently is the biggest obstacle when scaling, right? The sales team complexity. So here's the thing. Again, with the old model, it introduced complexity and operational drag the moment you try to scale, right? Since the rise of the cost to acquire customer through paid ads and other companies, we're looking for actually more efficient ways to acquire more customers with the least amount of time, energy, and capital spent. Again, more leverage. Because with the old model, you'll spend 5K a month in ads, 10 hours a day you'll have to use just to like maximize that opportunity, right? So if you only scale through labor, if you double your ads, guess what? You're going to have to spend 20 hours a day just to do that. So how do people solve it traditionally? Well, hey, if you're a business owner who's stuck on the sales calls, right? I think my boy Oliver is in this chat, right? When Oliver started with me, he was stuck on sales calls. We were putting more marketing efforts, right? And the only way to scale was, hey, take more sales calls. And then after that, we were like, okay, well, we need to place someone inside of here. We need to get a setter or another closer to come inside of here so that we can help remove you or at least reduce the amount of sales calls you're doing, right? So that's the traditional way. It's like 1+1, right? Well, we got to change it. We got to change it from addition to multiplication. So let's actually talk about it a little bit, right? The old traditional model, again, usually requires you to hire through more labor. So you might be the sales manager, you might hire a sales manager to have 100K cash collected month. What I usually had to have is at least 3 setters, 2 closers, right? And that team would pay me as a sales manager anywhere from 10 to 15K. Okay. That's the old way. Would usually, again, require 5 to 6 people to have a 100K cash collected month, right? Again, it's cash. We're not talking 150K generator, 200K generator. We're talking about cash here. With the new model with AI, you can actually run very, very lean. Here's a hybrid sales model that I found works really well. This is 100K cash collected, same numbers, but different here is one, you could remove the sales manager altogether because you're literally only managing 1 to 2 people at most. So we're taking what used to take 5 to 6 people and we're cutting it by more than half. We're talking 1 to 2 people. You get a lead closer to handle the majority of the volume. And then you get what I call a hybrid closer, which is like part setter, part closer. And then you have an AI setter that is functioning. Because remember, guys, an AI setter, this is the key here. An AI setter can be the magnitude of 3 human setters when fully ramped up. Okay. And I'm not saying here you need to replace 3 human setters with 1 AI right now, but that is the opportunity here. I have some teams who are still having their setters and working with the AI. I have some teams who just have the AI. It's going to be really up to you and your preference and what your offer is, right? Some people don't need the humans at all if they just want to take the calls. But what I'm fundamentally trying to show you guys here is that you can literally solve this issue of human complexity by adopting this new hybrid AI sales team model, right? Again, industry average is the monthly timeline, 100K cash collected, simulating everyone performs average and equal performance. Okay. So in a sales team, there's not always going to be everyone going to be like 100% all the same, right? There's going to be some averages. So if I was on a 100K cash collected team, I was usually demanding anywhere from 5 to 10K retainer for these guys as a sales manager. Okay. I'm collecting 5 to 10K cash collected, which usually will average about 10 to 15K that I'll command for a team, right? So if they're making 100K or 150K, that's usually the cut that I would get as a fractional sales manager, all right? Setter number one, 2,500. Setter number two, 2,500. Setter number three, 2,500. Let's say closer number one collects 50K, right? Closer number two collects another 50K. So this is the payout that the business owner will give to the sales team, right? So if you collect 100K, this is what you owe your sales team. I'm not even talking about ads. I'm not even talking about paying client success. This is just the sales team, guys. That's what people don't understand is you'll see like these Stripe screenshots of business owners making like 100, 150K, 200K cash per month. But like sales teams are expensive. They are a expensive ass machine, man. They're not cheap. So generally, what will happen is before paid ads, you're giving out like 32%, 32.5% of that to the sales team. If you have a good sales team, you'll be like 32K that you're just gonna have to say sayonara to. Okay. Now, when you actually add the ads, let's say you do 10K in monthly ad spend, that's 42,000, $42,500 that you will have to give back to your team, to the paid ads machine, to Mr. Mark Zuckerberg before you even see your cut. And that's not including the client success. That's not including the monthly subscriptions in the software. It's not always sunshine and rainbows being a business owner, y'all. That's why I started off as a closer first before I really fully delved into this world that I'm in. And this is why most online businesses literally can't scale effectively. They're operating off razor thin margins. So again, any of those who are posting the fancy 250K month Stripe screenshots, guys, they're secretly in trouble. This is what my business owner clients and my colleagues don't want to tell y'all is that they're secretly in trouble. It used to be great back in like 2018, 2020, when like again, ad costs weren't that expensive. But now in this world in 2025, it's razor thin margins and the founders are taking home less than their sales reps. Guys, when I was a full time closer making 15, 20K plus in comms, I was bringing home more than some of the business owners, believe it or not. I know that because as a fractional sales consultant, I see how much the business owners are taking home. And I had some of my past offer owners outright tell me that I was making double what they were making. So it's there's always, a grass is greener situation happening. And the sales team complexity is one of the biggest constraints preventing you from true freedom, profitability, and consistency, right? So now let's look at with a new model with AI math, right? It's again AI sales setter, a lead closer, and a hybrid closer. So here's what I will do. AI sales setters. Here's the thing. It's just monthly maintenance. You can get it as low as $1,000 per month in monthly maintenance. And this is like usually after full ramp up, okay? After a couple of months of the data, the maintenance, the volume that it's doing. It's only about 1,000 per month with call usage and everything. In fact, that's less, that's usually less base than one human setter, right? Usually human setters, I'll compensate them for 1,000 to 1,500. I have some sales teams right now, and it's like that's usually what you're paying out the setter. It's 1,000 to 1,500 for the base. It's less than the human setter. And guess what? You don't got to pay commission. That's the best part. The AI sales rep is not coming to your Zoom room and be like, I need more commission, sir. It's like, no, you don't pay it any commission. It's an AI. All right. Lead closer. Usually, if they're bringing out, let's say, let's say 80,000 in cash collected, you give them 10%. Industry average, it's 8,000. A hybrid closer, let's say you pay them 1,000 base and then 15%. You give them a little bit more because they're like booking their calls, right? So you pay them usually 4,000. All that 13,000 before paid ads, right? So it's literally a third, close to a third of what you would pay out a traditional sales model. And then with paid ads, you say same spend 10,000, 23,000 is what you're gonna actually like pay out. Here's the new additional cash each month with the more efficient AI hybrid sales model, close to 20K per month that you're putting back in your pocket. 20K. How much is that per year that you just found? 234,000 per year. This is like you going to your couch in your living room and finding $234,000 that you've been sitting on. All right? $234,000 literally underneath you that you can acquire each month. So you can either use that to pay yourself more, right? Finally get a business owner who's paying themselves a nice salary. You can reinvest that back into business for more calls, more volume, more ads so that we can continue this positive virtuous cycle. And most importantly, less humans, less human error, right? Less humans, less error. Because AI, believe it or not, is actually more consistent than a human because it's programmed, right? It's code. So, guys, that is the opportunity here. Okay. I don't know anyone who, if they don't see this math, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't see the value, right? Like you show this to anyone, they'll start to understand why this is actually so powerful. This starts to compound. All right, before you leave, if you like this video, I have one more free bonus gift for you. In fact, I actually did a whole free mini course called The Fastest Way to Scale to 50K per month using AI agents. Now, in this actual video, I break down step by step the exact AI sales system that we're using to add 50, 100, 150K per month even to some of the sales teams that we're scaling right now, meaning getting 5 to 10 plus book calls, helping close more deals on autopilot, and most importantly, how do we actually install AI sales reps inside of your potential machine? Now, that being said, if you want to check out the video, it's a full hour plus long mini course. Tap the link below in the folder here in the comments, and you could also find it somewhere on the right side of this screen. So again, if you're serious about possibly considering how to use AI to up level and take your business to the next level, check out that video, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.